Pupcast, Pupcast, Pupcast.
Could this be our podcast now? Just
I mean,
Pupcast?
I'm not sure it's any less work, honestly. I say that despite having not really prepared to do this. But I was like, how do I even, like, with the unsolved mysteries, there's like a, routine to it. I was like, what do I do about this? I was like, I forgot how to Google. I was like, what is this? What am I doing?
We somehow create more work for us in an attempt to make it less work for us.
Which is very on brand for me. I was like, it might have been easier to just do unsolved
The regular
mysteries,
thing.
but I want to talk about hero dogs. So,
Yeah.
if you're not familiar, there is a segment, perhaps the best segment. We don't talk about it nearly enough of unsolved mysteries, which is about heroic feats by dogs. And you get to see Robert Stack holding a beautiful golden retriever and then telling you stories of dogs that like did cool shit. And we were like, wow, that's great. We should just talk about that. And so we did a couple episodes that were just like other heroic dogs. I thought this was going to like take the internet by storm. No one cared. But it is a fun thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a whole hero dog award that they do every year,
which is pretty great.
It is pretty great. Although I would have to say I looked through the nominees in an attempt to find a dog to talk about for this Pupcast, and I don't necessarily disagree that these dogs are great, but I didn't see a lot of acts of heroism. I don't know if we're running low on heroic dogs, but if just being from a shelter makes you a hero, I've got two of them.
Well, yeah,
and these dogs don't do shit for me. So, in fact, it caused me a lot of problems.
I was gonna say, Lenny is from a shelter, and he is fucking terrible. He's a bad dog. He kept opening up Christmas presents while I was not home. What dog does that? They were on like a coffee table. I didn't have anywhere else to put them. They were not even on the ground, people, is my point. And he would pull them off the table and unwrap them. And some of them he damaged. And then I had to give people gifts that had been like chewed on by a dog.
Well,
so
your dog could be nominate him for the Hero Dog Awards next year in the shelter dog category.
Oh, so here we go, everyone. One free dog. $0, 0 cents. He said all his shots. He's up on his medication. It's really a deal. I paid $400 to get this mutt from the shelter for some goddamn reason. Mac and I talk about all the time. So we go in, Mac sees this picture of Lenny being like rescued from, frightful, horrible conditions. And it was not like the cutest picture, right? Like he had literally like just been pulled out of this hoarding situation. And Mac was like, this is the dog. And I was like, this guy? What? Because it was not the cutest photo. So then we go to the shelter and I walk in and I see him. I was go, this is him. Because he was so cute. And
he has that going for him.
And this totally bitter men's rights activist who was taking care of Lenny at the time was like, you're done for now, fella. She's gonna get this dog whether you want it or not. And then proceeded
Mac's there against his will.
Yeah. And then proceeded to complain about his ex-wife the whole time. Mm-hmm. And didn't want me to sign the paperwork for Lenny. Because if we got divorced, then that could be contest. There would be a thing,
what?
Right? Yes. Also,
what?
He wanted just Mac to sign it, so that it was just Mac's dog. And if we got divorced, it would be clear that Mac would get the dog.
This guy should be on a watch list. This is
I can't believe I never told you this. And then, of course, Lenny, being Lenny, acts terrible. He runs away. He goes into the lobby and pees everywhere. And I'm sure the people that were actually running the shelter, who were not this dude, right? This guy was just a volunteer foster dog guy. I'm sure they were like, wow, this dog is acting terribly. They're never going to adopt him. And of course, I'm just like, oh, well, we'll just give him a good home. And obviously he'll turn around, right? I'm already we need this dog. I love him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
of
we
course.
talked about the fact that he like we saw him, he acted horribly, and then we were like, "Yep,
This is
that's
the
the
one for
one."
us.
Yeah, well, that dog that is
Didn't
just
the people who had Curtis actively try and dissuade you from adopting him because of how bad they said he was?
yeah.
This is like that. This is a theme with your pets.
Curtis, who we got a year later, and looks a lot like Lenny, but they're not related. Sometimes I tell people that and they're mad. I don't know what to say about that. But they feel like they've been tricked. Curtis is a very demure, extremely nervous dog who spends most of his time hiding. Clearly had a bad life at some point and is not quite over it. Unlike Lenny, who's completely forgotten. Lenny just does whatever. He's a hedonist. He's just doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants. He doesn't care about anything. Yeah. So no one would adopt Curtis. And the woman that had him for like 9 months as his foster mom was like, he will bite you. The second you take your eyes off him, he will run away. Like all of this stuff about how terrible he was. And I was like, Mac, I don't know about this dog. This dog sounds like a bad choice. And Mac's like, well, let's just get him. We were going to do like just a weekend trial before we adopted him. And yeah, he's like the nicest, sweetest dog ever. I was like, what is this woman doing? But she really actively was like, this dog will bite you while you sleep, practically. Which could not be less true. Also, she was like, the second he sees he is very fast too. He's like a bullet, this dog. She's like, the second you take your eyes off him, he is gone. He will run away. And it's like, all this dog wants to do is follow Mac around for the rest of his life. He just wants to be next to Mac's ankle as close as possible for every breathing second of his day. He is not going like, what are you talking about? But I was like, yeah, no wonder no one would adopt him. This woman's like calling people up and being like, this dog has made a pact with the devil. Like,
which joke's on her. That just makes you want him more.
Yeah, I was like, great, perfect dog for me. Send him over. Oh my, yeah. So I guess they're both heroes. Lenny, that's news to me. Sometimes I really look at him and I'm like, you're one of the most expensive things I own. I spent $400 plus, like, all the medicine, all the vet, like,
right.
Just like
the food, everything.
I spent $400 to rescue you. What was I thinking?
As he's eating your Christmas presents.
Yeah. I think it's because I had some candles in there and he probably thought they were food. Like this because of the smell. No, it's not really fair, but I think that's why. But then he just started like doing that.
He just was gonna check you just in case.
Yeah. It's like, is there food here? It's like, no, stop. Stop ruining my life. Hero pup. Oh God. Yeah. Do you have what are the stories of you adopting your heroes?
Gracie I got when I was still in college and I became convinced that I wanted a dog. And I looked at photos of shelter dogs, which you're exactly right about pictures of shelter dogs. They are not appealing at all. They really don't make you want. It's like they all like mangy. They're all poorly lit. There's like a sheet taped up against like behind them on a wall. It's like, yeah,
they look super. I think Lenny was like what, right? Like Mac could see the potential, but I couldn't. I was like, I don't know about this. Really, like. First of all, I've also never had a dog. So, like, I was like, really? Like, this is the one we're going to get? But he is so cute. He was right. But yeah, they're all very like that Sarah McLachlan commercial where the dogs are like,
yes.
In the arms
I think I still have Gracie's photo.
Angel.
I don't know if I still have Renly's. But I saw Gracie's picture and I became convinced that I wanted this dog. And they called her a hound mix. Which, whatever, is like the most generic thing ever. But also, like, the angle of the picture made her look like a pretty big dog, even though she was a puppy. She was like 3 months old. I was like, oh, this is going to be a bigger dog. And I didn't really have a preference on size of dog. I actually had done very little research or thought about this at all because I was an impulsive college student and I just wanted a dog. So I went and I actually drove through a snowstorm. I skipped class and I drove through a snowstorm went
Uh-huh.
to the St.
Uh-huh.
Paul Humane Society, and I walked in, and she was the tiniest. She was so small,
Aw.
and I was like, "Wait, this is not the same dog." And they were like, "No, that's the one." And she jumped in my lap, and I immediately was like, "Well, I want this dog." And I put a hold on her and then left, being like, "Well, I'm gonna think about it." And then I was like, "Nah," and I came back like an hour later. I got her. And that was 13 years ago almost. She's very old now.
Wow. Aw.
Renly, I had a similar situation. Well, not actually. I didn't see his picture. My mom and I decided I wanted a second dog. And my mom and I were gonna go look at like every shelter. There's like several of them. We were gonna go start at the biggest one and then go through, because I actually had gone to the Humane Society a couple times after seeing pictures of dogs that I thought I wanted, and then it just like did not click. I don't know. It was like sort of the opposite. I would get there and I was just like, nah, this is not the dog for me.
Yeah.
And I had done
Yeah.
that like 3 times. So I was like, finally, like, Mom, do you want to go and we'll just like look and like meet each dog? Let's just meet a bunch of dogs, and maybe by the end of the day I'll find one. And he was at the first shelter. We like made like one pass, and he was like on one of the last kennels. And some family was there, and like the husband, the dad of the family, was like trying to lure him. He was like cowering in the back, and this guy was like
Aw.
trying to like lure him to the front of the kennel. And he was like, nah. No thanks. And so I walked up to this kennel, and the guy said, I don't think he likes men, and then he just walked off. And I was like, well, same. Well, I'm gonna go get this dog out.
You're like, me and this dog already have something in common.
Right? So we got him out, and like they let you take him for a little walk. And as soon as you do that, like,
I know.
you're not gonna leave that dog at the shelter. And so he came home with me, and that's his story. And he like definitely was suspicious of men for a while. He's kind of like mostly gotten over that. He came from Indiana, and Gracie came from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, I think one of my dogs is from Oklahoma. And Minnesota is so good about adopting dogs that we get dogs from like all over the country.
Yeah, there's such a demand for shelter dogs here that
which is really
they have to import them from places where like a lot of adoptable dogs might get euthanized because there's not as many people to adopt them. So
you hear that, Lenny? I saved your fucking life. I think he is from Oklahoma. Maybe Curtis is from Texas.
Maybe he knew Gracie. Actually, probably not.
Curtis has kind of like a crush on Gracie.
Curtis does love Gracie. Gracie hates like basically every dog, but
which is funny because Curtis is like, you know, it's usually like hiding under something, and then Gracie's around and he's like, oh hey, what's
he does
up?
really like Gracie.
It's so cute. They're both so cute, even though they're so annoying. I mean, you talked me into getting a second dog, which fortunately Curtis is like half the effort of Lenny, or maybe like a quarter of the effort. So it's Lenny is maybe more effort than one dog, but Curtis is less, so it all evens out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not the person you want to talk you out of getting an animal. I'll always be like, yeah, sounds like a good idea. You should definitely get that dog.
Yeah, I need to never look at pictures of adoptable dogs because then I'm like, well, maybe
it's dangerous. It really
the thing is, I only have 2 hands, right? Like I can only, in a situation, only grab 2 dogs if need be. I don't know.
Yeah, but between you and Mac, you've got 4 hands.
Well, then as soon as we're both around,
consider
whatever.
that.
When they're both about to like, let's just go run in the road, or whatever is about to happen. Oh my god. Pupcast.
Yes, I think
I mean, they're heroes. They're heroes, is what I'm saying. They're heroes that cost me, I think, to buy a year of their medicine for the 2 of them is like $1,000. So, thank you, heroes, for that. I was so lazy about this. I don't know. How is 2023 getting off for you, Samantha? I've had a week.
Yeah, it's been a weird week. I'm gonna say
so much snow, and the can you okay, you know how the mayor in Jaws is still the mayor in Jaws 2? And there's that meme about how it's really important you vote in
What
your
does
local
that have to
election.
do with snow?
Well, okay. Listeners, can you believe that we still have the same mayor as when George Floyd was murdered?
Oh, okay.
And also that
No, I can't.
that little rat bastard will not fucking plow. He has many issues.
Okay.
This is one of his most minor issues is that he would not fucking plow the streets. So we have been like, people are just like stuck in their, they can't get their cars out. None of the side streets got plowed after we had this like historic snowstorm. It's like trying to drive on a sand dune.
Oh God.
It's been a week. It's been a week is my point.
Yeah, we have like multiple feet of snow. We have what I've been calling Snow Mountain at the end of our driveway. Yeah.
And I see comments online from people supporting the mayor like that's just winter in Minnesota. It's like, no, it's not. I can dig out my own car, but then I need to be able to drive down the road. If you've set up a city with, minuscule public transportation, I need to be able to drive down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people don't quit. It's not just winter in Minnesota because Minnesota should know how to handle a lot of snow. And what I saw on Twitter when people were like, what am I supposed to do with my car? Like, I get that you're having trouble plowing the snow because our cars are buried, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, where am I supposed to put it? And the response from the city was like, get your neighbors out there with shovels and help dig you out. And it's like, wait, what?
If the cops are so necessary, if we cannot defund the police because they are so necessary to our city, I want you to fucking hand them snow shovels. Put them to work. They do not need to be just driving around harassing people, which is what they are doing. Come, shovel some people out. Get to work.
For real.
If you're leaning, you could be cleaning. Like, if they're not actively stopping a murder, I want them shoveling snow.
I mean, for real.
Because this is not the first, guess what? Not the first snowstorm in Minnesota. We should be prepared for this, Mayor Frey. Oh my God, I hate you so much. Shout out to, I did a zine fest called Insert Name, mini zine fest back in October, which was so fun. And one of the things that made it really fun is they had a pinata of the mayor that me and our local history nerd Rochelle beat the crap out of a pinata of the mayor and then got candy. Was it just a Minecraft pinata that someone wrote Mayor Frey on? Yeah, but whatever,
fine.
I haven't left my house in a couple days, but when I was out the other day, there were literally places where I could not tell what was the road and what was not the road. Like,
yeah, you just guess. I mean, that's you get to a point. I feel like there have been winters, and this is definitely one of them, where you get to a point where it's just an educated guess as you're driving down the road.
I mean,
is this the turn lane? Like, I feel like this is about right. You kind of just guess.
I think this is my 8th winter here, and I'm coming from Chicago, not unknown to winters. Never seen anything like it. This is now just the snowcast. Just me complaining about a lack of plowing happening here. Oh my God. Anyway, so I was so lazy preparing for this episode because this week has just like tried for various reasons. Just really tried my patience. And I literally just asked the five, what hero animals should we be talking about? And that's how I found my subjects. So I'm going to tell you the story let's talk about hero cat Tara first.
Oh, a hero cat. I have a hero cat too.
I'm not sure if it's Tara or Tara. Sorry, cat. Sorry to this cat.
How dare you get this cat's name wrong? It's going to write us a 1-star review.
That would be amazing, honestly. But okay, you cannot impersonate the cat. It has to come directly from the cat or the cat's family. All right. That's not an excuse for you, a person, to give us a 1-star review, which is unacceptable. If you complain about me pronouncing the cat's name wrong, you have to do it in a 5-star review if you're a human. This was like a viral video from 2008, but I missed this. So this is a tabby cat in California, I believe in the Bakersfield area. And there's this little clip. You can watch it on YouTube. On Wikipedia, it tells us that it received almost 17 million views in the first 48 hours.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So anyway, there's like this tiny little kid, I think he was 4, playing on a bike in his front yard, and the neighbor's dog gets out,
Oh, I've seen this.
The neighbor's like moving stuff, the dog gets out, the dog like goes around the car, and then for whatever reason, I guess just being like super territorial, just very suddenly grabs the kid's leg violently and is pulling him off the bike. But before your brain can even really register that is happening, this cat flies into action like a cartoon doing karate and body slams the dog so that the dog runs off and then comes back to check on the boy. It's so cute.
Sweet.
And it happens in like seconds where you're like, how did the cat know what was happening? How did the cat know what to do? Which is weird.
You know what? This is like he's like the EMT of cats. He just instinctively just knows. Yeah. He's who you want in a crisis, this cat.
I mean, I watched a clip where the parents are talking about it, and the mom was like, before I could even register what was happening, the cat had already like solved the problem, which is wild. The kid's leg was actually like he had to get like some serious stitches. Like it was a serious wound from the dog. So thank God for Tara the cat. Now this became like this sensation in Bakersville. Yeah, he needed 10 stitches in his calf, this tiny little boy. But this became such a sensation that they had the cat throw out the first pitch at a minor league baseball game.
Okay, how is the cat doing this?
I watched the clip. It did not really work. So they had the boy.
You don't say.
Yeah, they had the boy throw out a couple. And guess what? He's like 4. It wasn't very good. Work on your throwing arm there, kid. And I'm totally kidding. It was adorable. He's wearing like a giant baseball cap. You know, it's like, oh. But then they have the cat come out. And I think they had rigged up some sort of like magic trip. It was supposed to like glide on fishing line to look like it didn't work. They tried it like 4 times and it failed.
They should have just got a laser pointer, put the ball on the turf or whatever, had the cat just like bat at it, and then everyone cheers.
Everybody would have loved it, yeah. No, they made it too complicated, and then it would just, everybody's watching it and just fails.
There's a life lesson in that.
I mean, I don't really care about any aspect of sports, but I do like that baseball will do these like very hokey things that I'm not sure any other sport would be like, okay, now we're going to have a cat throw a ball. You know what I mean? It's just like so silly. They'll be like, all right, now a guy in like a mustard costume is going to try to outrun a pretzel. And you're just like, what? That I appreciate. Okay, so Tara went on to be the first recipient of a Cat Hero Award from the Cat Fanciers Association.
Oh, this is very prestigious.
Yeah, I know. There was in Bakersfield, there was a June 3rd was Tara the Hero Cat Day.
Tell me Tara has a statue.
I'm not seeing a statue.
Wow.
She did get a special award for cat achievement at the Cat Video Festival in 2014.
Have more accolades than I do.
Yeah, really. She received the Blue Tiger Award, which is actually supposed to only go to military service dogs. She was the first non-human to be the Grand Marshal in a Bakersfield Christmas parade.
This is a very accomplished cat.
I know. I mean, this is truly like a remarkable act of heroism. If you watch the video, it's quite good. And,
I mean, imagine the size difference between like this vicious dog and a tiny cat, and the cat doesn't think twice about it, just springs into action.
Yeah. I mean, I guess ever since this kid was a baby, him and the cat were really close. Like the cat would like sleep next to him as a newborn. So maybe the cat sort of like thought of him as her baby. Sure. There's even more awards. She won a year's supply of cat food. She rode in the Rose Parade.
Wow. Wow.
I know. Unfortunately, people did petition to not have the dog put down, but he was. So that's the sad aspect of the story, where people were like, it's not his fault, like he's poorly trained or whatever, but he was put down. So that vicious dog's not going to attack you. Also, this is in 2004, so guess what? Would have been dead anyway.
By now, they should definitely have a statue for Tara.
So. Yeah, I mean, after all these awards. It's also funny that this particular cat just has an expression of like couldn't be less bothered. Like it just is a cat that the way me as a human interprets that face, it's just like whatever.
Just another day.
Yeah, it seems like an extra, like, I don't know, not like a perky cat, like a just like meh. I don't care about this and I don't care about that kind of cat. And then it's like, unless it's time for me to do my special move
to karate chop some dog in the face.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, this recommendation came to us from the His and Her Horror podcast, so thank you to them.
Thank you so much.
All right, do you have a story for us, Samantha?
I have another hero cat.
Yes.
This is okay. So both of mine came from the Canadian news website globalnews.ca. And this first one is heroic guard cat credited with saving owner from armed robbers.
Wow.
So this article says that a Mississippi man and his pet cat helped prevent a robbery at his home, and he credits the cat with saving his life. So, not gonna lie, the reason I chose this story is that this cat is ironically named Bandit. So Bandit is a 20-pound cat who lives with her retired owner named Fred Everett in Belden, Mississippi. So one night, when was this? July 2022, so just this last year, two people tried to break into Fred and Bandit's home, and Fred says the cat did everything she could to alert him of the danger. He is quoted as saying, "You hear of guard dogs? Well, this is a guard cat." So the attempted robbery occurred sometime between 2:30 a.m. and 3 a.m. on July 25th. Everett was awoken by Bandit's loud meowing in the kitchen, which was not like her. Bandit then raced into the bedroom, jumped onto the bed, and began frantically pulling the comforter off of Everett. This was also unusual behavior. Bandit started clawing at his arms, and he knew that something was wrong. She had never done anything like this before, and he's quoted as saying, "What in the world is wrong with you?" It's 3 a.m. Cat is freaking out. So Everett went to investigate and saw two young men outside his back door. One had a handgun, and the other was using a crowbar to try and pry the back door open.
Oh my God.
So because this is the good old US of A, Everett ran and got his own handgun and returned to the kitchen. However, the would-be intruders already fled. Presumably, I'm filling in some blanks here, but they saw the terrifying guard cat and immediately hightailed it out of there.
They were like, "Whoa, we didn't know this place had a cat." And then they were like, "We're out." They just scrambled.
Yep. So he believes that the situation could have been worse had Bandit not alerted him to the intruders. Luckily, it didn't turn into a confrontation. Everett adopted Bandit from the Tupelo Lee Humane Society 4 years ago. Since the news of her heroism, Bandit has amassed some fans on social media. And yeah, that's the story of Bandit, the hero cat. She's a pretty calico little kitty. Yeah.
Who will bite you at the first sign of armed robbery.
It's so funny because I don't know. I've never owned a cat. Not that I've never been around cats, but I imagine a cat just like if someone was at my back door, I would definitely be the person that would have a cat that would just be like, yeah, whatever.
That's probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like my dogs are barking, every time someone gets out of their car, every time someone's shoveling snow, but if someone was actually breaking into the house, they'd be like, I'm sure that's supposed to happen.
And this is the problem with that, is that my dogs bark at things all the time. Every little bump in the house they bark at, which there could be someone breaking into my house at 2:30 in the morning.
You'd
My
be
dogs
like,
could be
shut
freaking out,
up.
and I would be like, Jesus Christ, I have to get up for work in 2 hours. What the fuck?
Yeah, why are you ruining my
Meanwhile,
life?
someone's like breaking in to murder me.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that, Samantha.
I hope not.
Okay, so listener Mary Jean would like to recommend a movie playing at the IMAX at her local science museum, which is called Superhero Dogs.
Superhero dogs.
Or something like that. And it features things from ski patrol dogs to service dogs. And apparently she cried her eyes out the entire time.
Okay.
So this is one of the stories that's featured in that movie. And I'm pulling this up from, I don't even know, some local news site called Hero Pitbull up for adoption in Knoxville after saving a woman from a knife attack.
Oh, this sounds intense.
Yeah. So this was back in 2016, where this previously stray dog, this woman was being attacked in Baldwin, Georgia, and this stray dog just attacked her attacker and ended up being stabbed 5 times in the process.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But like this poor woman, right, is being, I don't know, mugged or worse on the street. Just completely terrifying situation. And then out of nowhere, a dog she's never seen before in her life jumps on this dude.
Oh my God, incredible.
Yeah. So the officers who responded to the scene took the dog to the vet, and they were able to save the dog's life. And then people heard about the story, and they raised money for the vet bills. And then the vet also cut them a deal because, I don't know, they're not evil, I guess. And apparently this dog has just been living on the streets. He's had a really rough life, but was still there. Oh, he was 7 years old. And at the time of this article, was up for adoption. Someone better have adopted that dog.
I want the woman he saved to adopt him. Like, that's the ending I want. I realized that this woman probably didn't want a dog, or she's just trying to live her life, but
suddenly got attacked. Yeah. But if it was a movie, she would be like, this dog saved me, and now I'll save the dog. Yeah, exactly. And then they live together. I mean, I think pit bulls get a bad rap, so it's nice to have a story about a hero pit bull. You know, they can be good boys too.
Yes.
They can save you from creeps on the street. There's also, she put a link to a therapy dog that surfs with people.
Oh my God.
To help people with disabilities heal. So if you want to see pictures of a surfing dog that's apparently featured in this movie, hilarious.
I love it. I love it so much.
How come I can't surf but this dog can, you know?
Life is cruel. I don't know.
This dog looks like it's kind of nervous, but it's also just surfing. It's very funny, actually. He's like,
be a surfing dog.
Where he's like, look, I have no. It's like he's very serious about it. It's not like he's a dog having a job. Yeah, he's like, I got work to do. Surfing.
Yeah, this is his job. He takes it very seriously.
He looks so serious about it. It's like, well, just another day at the old surf mines. Yeah. I got one more.
Oh, okay. I have one more too.
Okay. You go next.
Okay, so mine is another not pup. This is a hero goose.
Whoa! I did not see that coming. Twist.
I chose this one because the headline was just too good. This is from the same website, globalnews.ca, and it's pet goose that survived fox attack, now internet hero and mayoral candidate.
Yes! It's the best headline I ever heard. What? Okay, first of all, if a goose wants to be mayor of Minneapolis,
this is perfect. This is on theme. I didn't even know you were going to tell the story of Minneapolis's horrible mayor, but we have a better choice.
Goose? Any goose?
Any
well,
goose.
I want to hear your thoughts on the police situation, but almost any goose. You have my vote.
So, Steve the Goose is making quite a name for himself.
Steve? Why is that a hilarious name for a goose?
Steve. For 9 years, the domesticated white goose has been living comfortably on Carla Shimko's acreage in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
You made all of those words up.
There's a video. I'm looking at Steve the Goose right now.
Steve
I'm looking at his official campaign photo, actually.
Oh my God.
So his human guardian says that he follows her around the yard. She said when she's mowing on the tractor, he goes up and down the rows. If I'm in the garden, he's in the garden with me. It's just a people goose. This goose. Steve loves people.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird, Steve. I don't.
Well, this is why he's make a good mayor. He's for the people.
I would make a bad mayor.
He's a goose for the people. So
that's a slogan, I assume. He puts that on buttons.
I assume that's on his campaign signs that are out in the yards.
A goose for the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
So Carla says he's great. If I'm sitting on the deck reading, he'll come and sit beside me. If I'm in the house, he pecks at the rear window to come inside. Carla's two youngest children bought the goose and his mate Lulu home from a nearby sanctuary 9 years ago. They raised the goslings together, and Lulu tragically passed away 4 years ago, but Steve lives on, successfully flying solo, though he can't actually fly, but he makes friends with bunnies and the family dogs.
Okay.
So Carla says that's why his sudden disappearance a month ago was so shocking. She said, I woke up in the morning and came out and he was gone.
Where's my goose?
Well, that's what she said. She asked her sons, have you seen Steve? And they said no. And she noticed that there were some feathers, which is not a good sign.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve was missing. He was gone. They took out ATVs to search the area around their property. They didn't know what to do, so they took to social media. Carla said, she said, I was kind of nervous putting something out there. I didn't want people to think I was crazy because I was so upset about a missing goose. However, within 2 hours, she said she had hundreds of people responding and wanting to come out and look for him. And other people sending positive messages, hoping that he was okay. So the search party grew and continued into the afternoon until Carla said she received an email from a friend that indicated that a fox had been spotted down the road carrying a white goose in its mouth.
No!
Just bad news all around. Not good. Not good. So we figured he was gone. She said we were sad. We were actually devastated. And she said adding hundreds more messages flooded in, messages of support after she updated everybody about what the sighting had been. So they suspended the search, thinking that he was surely gone, until the next morning when Steve was at our back door pecking, wanting to get in. So against all odds, Steve managed to escape the fox and waddle back home. He was dirty, ruffled, had fewer feathers than he did before. Aww. There was a little blood on him.
Steve!
But a vet checked him and said he was fine. And after some rest, he made a full recovery. She said, while Steve is still a little nervous even in his familiar surroundings, he's become a star on the internet. His survival story went viral, making international headlines and being featured on the Dodo. She said, honestly, I just think that he was such a positive light in a dark time. This was in 2020. I should have mentioned that. I think people were looking for stories like this around that time. She received letters from people who were sharing his story. She received letters from seniors sharing their stories of growing up with geese. From all that attention, there was suddenly a social media campaign for Steve the Goose to be the next mayor of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
I'm telling you, that is not a real place. You've made up an entire story.
I'm looking at Vote Steve the Goose for Mayor. This is a campaign sign. He's with his little pool. I would vote for him. Carla said that she only became involved with the campaign after the original organizer became inundated with messages and media requests. So someone just randomly decided this Goose should be mayor, and now they were printing T-shirts. The end of this article says, with a local election looming this fall, it's important to note that as a Goose, Steve can't be mayor. I disagree because we all know there are plenty of dog mayors around.
Does it specifically say in the rule book that a Goose can't be mayor? I think by Air Bud logic, which is the law of the land, even in Canada, a Goose can be mayor. So unless there's a law that specifically says that it can't.
I mean, truly, we know dogs can be mayors. We've seen cat mayors before. I don't see why Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan couldn't have
like a Goose
named Steve.
It's even got a human name.
Yeah, his proper name, by the way, is Steve D. Goose.
Of course it is. What else would it be?
I regret to say, however, that while I was waiting for you to get our setup ready, I was surfing Google trying to figure out the outcome of this election. It happened in 2020, and sadly, I wasn't really able to find one. I don't think Steve won his mayoral campaign.
You're the human that has to run against a Goose. Like, you've come up with this platform. You're gonna you have a plan to solve some sort of local problem, like, I don't know, trash pickup or something, and you have here's my 4-prong approach to education. And okay, get up and debate Steve D. Goose. I mean, completely incredible. I want that to happen to Mayor Frey. I want him to have to debate a Goose.
I mean, really. So the best I could find was an article by the Moose Jaw Today, talking about his the kickoff to Steve D. Goose's election campaign. And it said the article says that with 4 months until the civic election, Moose Jaw has its first candidate officially declaring their candidacy for mayor. Internationally renowned Steve the Goose is throwing
D. Goose. Show some respect.
Steve D. Goose. And so we have some quotes from the Steve the Goose's campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a vote for Steve is a vote for fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
Steve is a family goose who understands that people are struggling.
Sure.
During this trying time. Apparently, Steve the Goose has a large family. I don't know how many baby geese he's responsible for bringing into this world, but his campaign says, "Do you really think you can have a family this size without knowing how to budget?" I'm literally quoting this article. I swear I did not. I'm not making this up.
This is amazing. I am crying.
Steve has what it takes to move the city forward with proven leadership skills. He is never afraid to get dirty or get down to the real work.
I honestly feel for the person that had to run against Steve, because I'm not sure when people on some Sunday morning talk show or on the news, and they're debating how people are going to vote. I'm not sure they're really taking into account how many people are yeah, fuck it. And which I think is a very common reaction to the voting process. So I feel like so many people would be yeah, I'm fucking voting for that Goose. Why the hell not?
We've got some quotes from Moose Jaw residents. So
okay, all right. Wow, yeah, you did some deep dives on this. I like it.
This is one article, but yes, you're right. I did deep research.
You were calling people to get their reactions. Yeah.
This person is quoted as saying, "I don't know. I think his chances are good. He," meaning Steve, "is very popular, and the incumbent mayor, someone named Mayor told me, is not very popular, apparently."
Oh, well, so there you go.
So Steve is popular, so he's got a good chance. This person says, quote, "Steve is tough, smart, and a good goose. Reliable. He fights a good fight."
And he's a good goose. You can't deny that.
So the article ends by saying that Steve has been very busy doing multiple press interviews, including the aforementioned interview he did with the dodo.
My God.
That video at the time of this writing boasted over 26 million people liking the video on their Facebook page. So
what mayor can say the same? Seriously.
I mean,
what mayor has that kind of popularity?
So I unfortunately the Facebook page for Steve the Goose for mayor hasn't been active since 2020, so I don't know. He doesn't appear to have an Instagram account.
We're bringing it back, Steve.
I really looked to try and figure out where Steve the Goose is now, if he continued his political career.
Well, how long did geese live?
Look, we need a Speaker of the House. Let's get this goose.
Okay, there is no one that has been proposed for Speaker of the House that is as popular as this goose. So think the fact that he's Canadian, beside the point. Like we need to bring in an international superstar like Steve D. Goose to really get things in order.
Exactly.
The only thing that could make that process more ridiculous would be bringing in an actual goose and being like,
someone nominate this goose. He immediately gets all 218 votes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Oh God. We should have ended with that one. I cannot fucking top. Are you kidding me? I can't top that story. Now I just have a hero dog. Sounds like a chump.
Compared to Steve D. Goose.
Yeah.
Political sensation.
This story comes from listener Nora. This is from Vermont. About this time last year, where a hero dog led rescuers to save an owner who was ejected from their car. Someone was drunk driving, crashed their car, wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was thrown from the vehicle, and was dying in the snow of hypothermia.
Oh, God.
But this was Cam. Cam, I hope you have gotten things together. I hope this taught you a lesson. Hope you're not drinking and driving anymore. Because your dog, Tinsley, this was like right by where two interstates meet in Vermont. So Tinsley went over to this bridge and was walking back and forth, causing a havoc. And when police responded to the fact that this like dog was in everyone's way, the dog would like not be captured until leading them to this crash site, which no one had noticed because
Tinsley,
because it was kind of off the road, There was no other vehicles involved. I think it crashed into like a tree or just the side of the road or whatever. And that saved the owner from hypothermia. Tinsley is a Shiloh Shepherd and was just over 1 year old.
Aw, what a good dog.
Before this amazing act of heroism. Apparently the dog and the owner are constantly together. So the dog would not allow this. Would not allow it.
What a hero.
Yeah. And then the police are like, well, we see a lot of trained canines doing stuff like this, but pretty cool that just a household pet can do it. Unfortunately, I think there was another dog in the car and that dog died.
Oh my God.
So that's don't horrible. Drink and drive, everyone.
You know what that makes me think of is that, like, you know how much money police departments pay for these, like, supposedly elite canines or whatever. They bring them over from like Germany and they're like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And then this dog is just like, it's not that hard, guys. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, really.
I don't need to be specially bred from like whatever the fuck the long line of German shepherds. Like,
yeah, when I forget if I was in middle school or high school, but the police did like an assembly at Mac's school where they like brought in these canines to like it's just like cop propaganda, but to show how they had like trained these dogs, and they were like talking to them in German because they were from like they were like trained, and you couldn't say like sit, you had to say it in German because they were trained in German. It's like you couldn't get. You could just get some mutt to do that. Not Lenny, okay, to be fair.
I mean, not just any mutt. I mean, I'm looking at mine right now. I would not be put out for it.
But I don't know that you really need to get special dogs that speak German. That seems like, kind of a waste
hundreds
of
thousands of dollars of taxpayer money. Yeah. Just to like, terrorize the public or whatever. Or like
just sniff out drugs. Like, That's actually not that important, guys. Everybody calm down.
No.
I don't know that we need elite drug sniffing dogs. Bomb sniffing dogs, sure. Great. But that doesn't I don't know how much of a thing that is. Outside of movies like Face Off or something.
Maybe we can get some bomb sniffing geese.
Yes. Oh yeah. Why aren't we trying other animals? Ferrets.
Geese are tough. Geese are scary. Like, don't mess with the. I wouldn't mess with a police goose.
Would it be wearing like a little uniform or maybe some sort of collar?
Yeah, a little badge.
So you knew it was a police goose.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
a
little hat.
Oh, that's adorable. Wow.
I'll fund the police goose. We can just replace all
officers
of our police with just
just geese.
Maybe Steve's children. It seems like Steve has a lot of children. Maybe they need careers of their own. They can't all go into politics, right?
An elite squad known as the Special Goose Unit.
Special Goose Unit.
Oh my God. I'm so happy about Steve and his mayoral campaign. This really has brought joy into my life. Thank you, Samantha. And thank you, Steve.
I mean, I think every town should have an animal for a mayor. I will die on this hill.
Yeah. Okay. So I once posted a picture to our Instagram, which we have a Perhaps It's You Instagram. Let me pull that up. There's a statue outside of a fucking Ace Hardware that I stumbled upon. Let's see where this is here. This was a little while ago. Yeah, okay. So there's a statue of Jaeger, who was a former dog mayor. And
Jaeger?
Yeah. The unofficial unofficial.
Oh, come on.
What? He got
Jaeger some respect.
The unofficial mayor of Linden Hills from October 2006 to August 30th, 2019. And
that's a long run.
Yeah. The statue is brought to you by Jaeger's friends and the Linden Hills Neighborhood Council. But it's just, there was just a cute statue of a dog outside of this Ace Hardware. And I was like, and then I looked at it, I was like, this dog was mayor. That's over here by these plastic chairs to put outside and a bunch of mulch. Is a statue of a dog mayor. So thank you for your,
it should be. I mean,
thank you for your work, Jaeger. I'm sure.
I bet Jaeger knew something about operating the snowplow system or whatever.
I feel like he was like, if he saw snow, he'd be like, let's do something about that. You know, yeah. I think he could figure it out. Oh, it's snowing. Better call those snowplows. You know, it's like not that hard. People are like, Liz, shut up. No one cares. I do.
I mean, you want to leave your house, right? Like,
it's ridiculous.
You know, something you need to do occasionally.
Oh my God. I want the police force out. If there's not enough people or whatever he's just trying to save money. But whatever the problem is, you get those police officers out there with little shovels. Put them to work. Let them do some good for their community.
I did see a video during the big snowstorm. I forget what day last week we got all the snow. It was Wednesday or Thursday, whatever. It was like a traffic camera on an on-ramp to some highway, and like there was just like 10 people out there with their little shovels you like keep in your car. It has like a short little handle. Yeah. They were all out there with those shovels, like shoveling the on-ramp.
Oh, see? I am not exaggerating. I have never in my life seen an urban area where the like snow has just like not been cleared like this for a period. Like it's very wild.
Silly. For Minnesota, it's silly. Like we like snow days. I feel like I don't know if you're not from an area like it's a lot of snow. I feel like you might think the snow days are a thing. They're kind of like not a thing because like you can always get to school. Like we know how to handle snow. Like you might get one snow day a year. Like you're fucking going to school.
They are. Yeah.
Like we don't shut down for anything because the plows are out. Like the buses have snow tires, whatever. But like this last snowstorm really shut us all down. And yeah, people were out there with their shovels. It's just regular citizens shoveling an on-ramp.
An on-ramp! It's ridiculous. Yeah, I had to return some library books. So I'm like, and just yeah, like normal people are just like out trying to shovel their whole street. It's like, I don't think I should be out right now. And
this was like days after
yes!
all this happened. Like all of this hubbub about like, okay, like people waited a couple days. Like it's kind of understandable, like the immediate aftermath of a snowstorm, it takes a little while to like get all the snow, especially when it's this much snow. But like days later, you were still unable to drive down the street.
And the solution is get your neighbors to. It's like, I'm sorry, like what? Where's the tax money going exactly?
Steve D. Goose would never stand for that.
Exactly. Would Yeager, the unofficial mayor of Linden Hills? I don't think so. In fact, how did he pass away? I have a conspiracy theory. Maybe he was taken out. He knew too much. He was speaking the truth and people didn't want to hear it. It was the octopus.
Justice for Yeager.
Oh my God, they got him, Samantha.
Oh no.
They got him.
Oh no. What if they got Steve? I really could not find any evidence of Steve's existence after
I'm really
the
not
2020
sure
election.
Let's Google how long did Geese live.
He was like 9 years old in 2020.
Okay, Geese lifespan. Oh, Samantha, I have some bad news.
Is it 10 years?
Yeah. A Canadian goose can live from 10 to 24 years. Which
this is not a Canadian goose. This is he wasn't a wild. This was like a white.
This is that's a swan goose, apparently.
Is that what they're called? This is like a farm goose, like the kind of goose you'd see in like Babe.
Well, they can live 20 years.
Oh, okay. Steve's doing great. Yeah, he's this midlife.
I had no idea. That seems like a long time to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah.
I assume Steve is fine, fathering more children.
Maybe he immediately
furthering his political ambitions.
Maybe he immediately got corrupt, Samantha. Maybe he couldn't handle it.
Well, yeah.
He was like, for some bird seed, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. Schools, who needs them? Shut them down.
Maybe he's in jail for embezzlement or something.
I mean, that's what they don't want you to know, but yes. And the punishment is death penalty.
Oh no!
He got cooked up as a dinner.
It was on someone's Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Steve. What an episode.
Well, thank God his children are on the Special Goose Force.
Yeah.
This is a legacy of public service. Is the Steve D. Goose family?
I can't believe talking about unsolved mysteries too much has led us here. But I'm glad. I'm glad there's a road my life has gone down that led me to learning about Steve D. Goose. Now my favorite mayoral candidate. A totally normal phrase.
Yeah.
Steve, we love you. This episode is dedicated to you. It's BD Wong, stop listening. This is the one episode that's not for you. It's for a goose. BD Wong, turn this off. If you downloaded it, which I know you download every episode, you have to go and you have to delete it. Go in there.
Don't do that. Keep the download. But...
Samantha's like, no, BD Wong. Oh, BD Wong. I think he teamed up with America's Test Kitchen or something. So he's been posting all these videos of him cooking.
Oh, please, we can't handle it.
It's too hot.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's too hot for the internet. It's like he's cooking food for you. It's unbelievable.
It's too much.
Yeah, that is not safe for work. That needs a hashtag. So thank you, America's Test Kitchen, for that content.
I mean...
So everybody follow BD Wong on Instagram also. Whether you follow us, whatever. But BD Wong, hello. There's also, if you buy a big enough Lego set of Jurassic Park, you can get a little BD Wong minifig. Can I just get that? I just want BD Wong.
Yeah, I don't need the whole Lego set.
I definitely don't want the Chris Pratt one.
No.
So I can make him strangle a little Lego dinosaur. No, thank you. No, thanks. Oh my God. So I think Samantha, I don't know if you want to talk about this. This is kind of risque.
Okay. We've never talked about anything risque on this podcast.
This year, isn't a new Transformers movie coming out?
Yes.
How excited are you?
Hell yeah, I'm extremely excited.
I knew it!
This movie was delayed. It was delayed, but it's coming out this year.
This is a fascinating fact that people might not know about Samantha, and perhaps she wants to edit this out. I don't know. But
I love the Transformers
movies. You love the Transformers movies.
I do. Those movies that are just Chevrolet propaganda. It's just like a car commercial. It's like
I've actually never seen them.
I mean, they're so the early, especially the early ones, are so bad. So bad. Like I can't even describe like how bad they are, but I just for some reason really love them, and yeah, definitely excited for what is the name of the
I have no
Transformers
idea
movie that's coming out.
I just saw it in
this year.
like movies. I mean, I'm all hype about the Barbie movie, obviously. That's all I'll talk about.
Rise of the Beasts. Can't wait. Can't wait.
When they filmed maybe the first or second Transformer movie, they filmed it in New Mexico while I was living in New Mexico. They filmed it like right in that area. And then I moved back to Chicago and they filmed a Transformers movie there.
Oh.
And I really was like, is Shia LaBeouf stalking me? What? Like this seems like it's like, oh, we're gonna film by Las Cruces, New Mexico. But then Chicago, I was like, okay, I'm on to you, Shia LaBeouf. Also, he's a creep, right? Don't stalk me. Don't stalk me, Shia LaBeouf.
Is Shia a creep?
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, look, I just like a Transformer movie. Do I know very much about?
You're there for the Transformers. You're not there for Shia LaBeouf, right?
Yeah. I mean, justice for Megan Fox. I mean, she was done dirty by the Transformers franchise of Michael Bay. Like, don't support it. I don't support it, but I don't know. Seeing those cars transform, something about it. I really like it. I can't explain it. Can't explain it.
I love this for you. I love this. This would be a great year for you.
Should I make you and all of our other friends go see Transformers in theaters as I did with the Jurassic Park movie?
I'm thinking like immediately going like, should we get like a Hummer limo? Like, how can we make this a bigger, I want to make,
make it a whole event.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, should we eat at the Cheesecake Factory? No, that's what I want to do for the Barbie movie.
Okay, fair.
So maybe we'll go to the Olive Garden.
Yeah. That's how you know it's fancy.
Yeah, exactly. We need and then get in our
garden and then go see the new Transformers movie, Rise of the Beasts.
Those beasts are gonna rise. I mean, the next Magic Mike movie is coming out.
Wow, this is a big year.
Okay, so here's the thing, folks. None of y'all told me that the second Magic Mike movie is hilarious. It's like amazing.
You've never asked, but fine.
I guess I didn't. You know what? I didn't even think to ask, but I feel like someone should have told me that it's like incredible. It's like so funny. I loved it.
Are you and Mac going to get a limo with a hot tub to take you
That's why I bring it up.
Opening night of Magic Mike 3?
So I saw that Magic Mike 3 is coming out. I watched the trailer. It's completely ridiculous. It looked very stupid. And I was like, this is so funny.
The Mac plot and I doesn't seem that much different than the second one, I gotta say.
No, it seems very much sillier to me, at least. But we'll see. Because so I was making this joke, and I believe actually it started as a dream, but it became a joke, and then it became a reality that I kept telling Mac, like, oh, I can't wait for our big date when we go see Magic Mike 3. And it got to the point where I was making that joke so much that it was like, Mac was like, are we really doing this? And I was like, yes. But that means But that means you have to watch Magic Mike and Magic Mike XXL to prepare for our date because he hadn't seen them, and I had seen the first one and like not really cared. Wasn't that into it, and but then we watched the second one. I was like, wait a second, we both love this. So now we're actually like kind of excited for like it's taken a weird turn where it's like, yes, we need to have like
this plot twist.
I want it to be like prom, but we're going to see Magic Mike 3.
Are you gonna wear a gown?
I think we should get dressed up. I might get like a boutonniere. Like I want this to be like an event. That Magic Mike 3 has come out, and now Selma Hayek has discovered Mike and is gonna put him on the like actual theatrical stage in London.
Oh yeah, that's right. You showed me the trailer the last time I was at your house. It's all coming back to me.
Because I was like, wow, this is very silly. I want to see it. But now I'm like, wait, maybe it's actually going to be good. Like the second one. What's happening? Yeah. Okay, I have to look right now.
This is how you're going to feel about me making you watch the latest Transformers movie. Like, wow, the cinematic masterpiece. Transformers Rise of the Beast.
Magic Mike's Last Dance. And I'm kind of like, no, it shouldn't be.
Is it gonna be the Last Dance though?
It better not be, because I want them to make 10,000 of these now. But I'm looking at the cast. Is Matt Bomer in this or no? It doesn't look like it. That is unfortunate. That I'm not okay with.
Have you seen the dog on TikTok that is in love with Henry Cavill? And they tried to see if she could tell the difference between Matt Bomer and Henry Cavill, and she could.
I don't think they look that much alike. Personally,
people think frankly, I don't either, but I don't. People do. Dog does not think so either.
Would anyone describe Henry Cavill as pretty?
This dog.
Yeah, okay, but like the word pretty, you know what I mean? Like Matt Bomer is pretty. Is Henry Cavill pretty?
That is an interesting distinction. That's an interesting distinction.
I like that this is where this has gone, but you brought in the dog, so it all
we're circling back to the theme
as we talk about the big movies that are coming out this year. What does the dog think about them, though? The dog's like, well, what's Henry Cavill up to? It's so funny. It's so funny that your dog would have a celebrity crush, and it's a human. Like it's not like a dog in a commercial or something, which I could see Curtis doing, being like, oh, Gracie. Now in this puppy chow commercial, hey. Well, I don't think we can top it. I think we got to end the episode.
This is the weirdest. Look, we've had some weird episodes, but this is up there.
Well, I wanted to start the year off on a more positive note than the orphan train.
Whatever bummer is going to be in the next episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I mean, I think it was a good choice.
But we will finish up season 7 that we have now been doing for, I think, more than a year. But we will finish that up. It'll happen.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen. So definitely download Repod.
Yes.
The only app with the integrity, the honesty, and the decency to sponsor us.
Get on Repod and like our latest episodes so we can get this Pupcast to number 1 in Repod. Ugh.
I think we've lost our number 1 spot because it's been more than a month since we had an episode out. So now you need to like this one to get us back to number 1, because I'm going to keep referring to us as the number 1 podcast on Repod, whether it's technically true at that moment or not. So don't make a liar out of me, everyone. Get to work. Unless your finger is broken, you need to be hitting that like.
Yep.
And if it is broken, use a different finger.
Unless all 10 of your fingers are broken.
And toes. And elbow. Unless you're in a full body cast, no excuses. What else? We need some 5-star reviews, man.
We do, actually.
Yeah. Oh my, should I read our latest review, which is like
we got some really sweet reviews lately.
Which is like too nice, actually. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The person who wrote this review claimed it on Instagram, because I was like, okay, who is this nice? And my mom immediately went, yeah, it's not me. So thanks. Thanks, Mom. Okay, first and best podcast I have ever listened to.
Wow. Imagine that this is the first podcast you've ever listened to.
People-
Can we imagine that for a second? Like, not Serial, not This American Life, whatever, but like, this is the podcast.
People are like, oh, you don't listen to podcasts? And then somehow, out of some bizarre twist of fate, this happens to be the one that you're downloading. And you're like, this is what people are listening to all the time? This? Okay. This is the best and first podcast I ever listened to. I started listening during the pandemic and I haven't stopped listening. This is the only podcast I really anticipate and listen to every single episode. Perhaps It's You is the only podcast I have a Patreon for. Listening to Liz and Samantha squawking feels like I am listening in on a friend's conversation. It's so much fun. This is the part that is okay. That's all extremely sweet, too nice. But this is the part that blew my fucking mind. My 9-year-old loves listening to PIY during road trips, and I let her listen, that is foolish, because I feel like the two of you are positive role models. Thank you for not quitting. I'm so proud to be one of the 5.
I mean, I'm not sure I would recommend anyone like lifting us up as role models for children.
Terrible idea.
But so sweet. So sweet. I do sort of think that saying this is the best and only podcast I've listened to is a little like saying your only child is your favorite child, but I still...
Okay. No, they said it's the first one and their favorite.
Okay.
But I think they might have gone on to listen to other ones, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, obviously we have the best one," which is true. No, it is sort of. I tell my niece and nephew all the time that they're my favorite niece and nephew, and guess what? They're the only niece and nephew, which they've recently figured out. And then I was like, "Yeah, but if I had others, you would still be better." And they're like, "Yeah, right. You know, Aunt Liz, go drink some more wine," they say. God, yeah, so sweet. So shout out to this 9-year-old that's getting life advice from us. Wow. We are the cool mystery ants, though.
I mean, we do strive to be the cool mystery ants, so I guess it is kind of
we brought this on ourselves. We brought being role models on ourselves.
I never like equated that with being a role model, like being the cool ant doesn't necessarily like those two things are not like intrinsically linked.
I associated it more with being the person that appears at a baby shower and like a like lightning crashes and then suddenly I'm in the room in all black.
I did sort of, being a cool mystery ant to me, I feel like I've sort of thought was like the opposite of a role model, kind of like bad influence. Yeah.
I was literally telling my nephew how I got out of detention as a child, and my mother.
Duty. That's your duty as an aunt.
Exactly. And my mother-in-law was like, not thrilled that I was dispensing this information, and I was like, that's my job.
Yeah. Who else is going to do it?
To be a bad influence. Okay, now 9-year-old, I will actually give this advice to you now. This was to get out of a lunch detention. This was not for something like really serious, like fighting or whatever. I forget what I did. I think I threw a sandwich across the cafeteria, actually, is what I did.
Wow.
I know. But when I was supposed to get a lunch detention, I said that there was no point because I had already learned my lesson. And it worked.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that.
I was like, yeah, that's just a waste of your time and mine.
I could be in class learning.
I mean, it just would have meant I couldn't sit with my friends at lunch. So, but I was like, don't bother. I already learned my lesson that I'm never going to throw a sandwich across the cafeteria again. And they were like, okay.
All right.
Basically, what I heard a lot was you've never been in trouble before, so we'll let this one slide. And I think I heard that like a dozen times.
You can just keep kind of working that angle.
It honestly, this is a very rare instance where sexism is going to work in your favor. And they're going to be like, you're a girl. You're not really an issue. Like, you're probably not going to break anyone's rib, like whatever.
Yep.
We've got bigger fish to fry than you and your sandwich hurling. Anyway, that's my advice as the role model. Just say you already learned your lesson and see what their comeback to that is. Okay. Whoa. We're supposed to be ending this show.
We were trying.
I don't know. Yeah. 5-star review, downloads.
Patreon.com.
Patreon. We are talking about
you.
The reboot over there. So if you like be bummed the fuck out, you will give us $1 and tax.
We have plans. Eventually we'll be done talking about the reboot. It's going to be a couple months, but eventually we will. And then we have some fun plans. So,
but also like,
if you give us $1,
people to hear about the reboot, but we just assume that it's like the going to the dentist. It's like, look, one day it'll be done. You can
it's just
check
a
it
lot
off
of
the list.
work. I mean, from our perspective, it's a lot of work to be
so
really
sad.
bummed out
It's so
just
sad.
over and over again. I don't know. It's like not my favorite thing to talk about, but yeah, you're right. People seem to like it. And also, if you give us $1, you get like over. Are we over 60 episodes at this point? Like,
it's ridiculous.
We're definitely over 50. So you get a back catalog of a lot of content, some of which is very random.
What, you don't think people want to hear our chicken people episode? I don't think we ever released that from the vault. So if you want to hear
maybe if you want to hear us talking about
documentary chicken people,
give us $1.
Or an episode of Hotel Hell with Samantha's true love, Gordon Ramsay.
You know that, especially when we first started out, I used this podcast as an excuse to talk about my love for Gordon Ramsay.
I see nothing wrong with that. I salute you as a hero. Okay, thanks everyone. I hope the year is off to a good start. I hope you can leave your house. And I hope that you vote for Steve D. Goose for mayor. A goose for the people.
Should we sign up this episode with keep honking instead of keep barking?
Yes. You're such a professional, Samantha. Keep honking. Keep honking, everyone. Bye.